welcome. I'm Joshua Barnes and you're watching The World Report. Let's first take a look at some of the top headlines. The LA wildfire death toll has risen to at least 10 as infernos continue to rip through the county. As many as 10,000 structures have been destroyed in the most devastating fires ever to hit LA. President-elect Donald Trump says that Russian leader Vladimir Putin has asked for a meeting. Trump says talks are being arranged as Putin looks to end the bloody mess of the Ukraine war. Meanwhile, the US Supreme Court has rejected a last-minute bid from Trump to call off his sentencing in his hush money case. The president-elect will be sentenced today, 10 days before his inauguration. As Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro prepares to be sworn in for a third time, opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has reportedly been detained. Aides say she was later released after leading protests against Maduro amid election fraud claims. Donald Trump has confirmed that a meeting is being arranged between himself and Russian President Vladimir Putin. While the exact timeline remains unclear, Trump emphasised the need to end the Russia-Ukraine war, calling it a bloody mess. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has stated that no formal request of talks have been made yet, but Putin is open to the idea. Trump has long promised to seek peace in Ukraine, though he has not put forward specific proposals. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has suggested that Trump's leadership could help bring an end to the war. Trump's stance on NATO and military aid to Ukraine continues to raise questions as he prepares to take office. We'll first go to our correspondent, Aditya Wadwan. Aditya, we know, of course, during Trump's first presidency that there was some form of relationship with Vladimir Putin. Do you think this is a continuation of that, or do you think that this is a real effort from him to make sure that the war between Russia and Ukraine ends as soon as possible?
Well, Tom, Josh, at this moment, Trump has been saying that, that once he takes the office on 20th January, he would bring an end to all the wars, be it the war of Israel-Hamas or be it of Russia-Ukraine. And he has been consistently saying that once he takes the office, he will end this Russia-Ukraine war that has been going unabated for the last 2-3 years. So now it needs to be seen as to what steps does the Trump administration takes place. This could be that meeting with Vladimir Putin could be one of the steps towards ending the war. But at this point of time, what are the modalities of the talks? What are the key points that Donald Trump will have with his Russian counterpart is yet to be known. But sometime back we had also seen that Vladimir Putin had said that he is ready to talk to Trump. And is ready to make compromises on this Ukraine war on the position of strength, but not on weaknesses. But at the same time, he's also been retaliating to the Ukrainian drone strike. He has been attacking Ukrainian cities and many other cities like Kyiv and Kharkiv. So it needs to be seen from where this process, where will this finally end? There might be a possibility where there might have some backdoor meetings might have happened. Backdoor calls or meetings might have happened between Trump and Vladimir Putin. Yes, Josh, back to you in the studio.
We'll now go to Alex Izzat, a journalist from London. Alex, I'd like to ask you about Vladimir Putin's intentions in these conversations. He has, of course, spoken about ending the war, but there has always been a caveat that this would come with concessions from Ukraine. Do you think Putin's intentions can be trusted, and what might those concessions be?
It's an interesting question, really, because obviously when he did say that the only way he would end the war was to keep the places that he had been occupied already, that doesn't seem to have changed very much. But when you look at Kyiv and the Kremlin, they are losing a lot of money, and it would be in Putin's potential interest to actually stop the war itself, to call some kind of ceasefire, because the country, Russia, is losing the money, it's losing people, and he doesn't think that this would go on as long as it has. And he does feel like he does need to save face at the moment. What he wants from Trump and what he wants from Ukraine may well be that he wants the land that he's currently occupying, and he looks to get more land because he's still moving forward throughout Ukraine at the moment as we speak. But what Donald Trump might then put it in place is that he'll have a discussion with both the leaders of Ukraine and Russia as well to look at how they can work together, how they can use some of the resources that are on the land in Ukraine, because that's what it comes down to, isn't it? When it's looking to what kind of benefits that Donald Trump, Putin and Zelensky can move forward with this ceasefire. But ultimately, can Putin be trusted? Well, at the moment, he has been very forthright in what he wants, and that is the land that he occupies. He hasn't really changed or moved on that. So it will be a case for that discussion to see if he is movable and if he will save face a bit and stop the war sooner.
We are also joined by Glenn Grant, former advisor to Defence Minister of Ukraine, who's joining us from Latvia. Glenn Grant, in terms of the perception of this conversation in Ukraine, do you think this is a necessary step that needs to happen in order for Trump to play a part in ending the war? Or is this potentially being seen as a strengthening of the alliance between the US and their incoming president and Vladimir Putin and Russia?
Oh, that is a very...
Hello, Glenn. Do you mind repeating the start of your answer there for us? We just lost you.
Okay, sorry. I said that is a very, very challenging question because Trump is not being absolutely clear about things, and the distractions over Canada and Greenland, which you might actually say help Putin. Just muddy the waters in a long way. I'm not sure I agree with Alex completely about whether Putin can be trusted, because I don't believe he can. I don't think he's going to go back on what he wants, for the simple reason I'm not sure that the army will let him. He's let loose the Rubicon, cross the Rubicon in Russia himself, and that there are an awful lot of people who now want to see this war taken to its ultimate conclusion of Ukraine being taken back under Russia ownership. So I don't think that Trump has got many cards in his hand that are good enough yet to sway Putin.
We're also joined by Dr. Sergei Dvoranyov, Director of Communication on the BCMF BRICS Culture Media Forum. Thank you for joining us, Sergei. Looking at this from a Russian perspective, how do you think Putin will want to move forward with this war? His aim, of course, was to take Ukraine in a shorter amount of time. There is acknowledgement that the war has taken longer than expected. Ukraine haven't fallen, but is this potentially a sign of weakness from Vladimir Putin? Or do you think this is potentially a way in which he can move forward with his new aims, which are to control the areas, as Alex mentioned, which are currently under Russian occupation?
Thank you for this question. Good evening. First of all, I want to start with the explanation or mindset of Donald Trump, because during his previous presidentship, 4 years, America was not involved in any war. Even he started to remove this military from Afghanistan. He's peacemaker inside his heart, deeply. That is his mindset. And regarding the weakness of Vladimir Putin, I cannot tell this. I think that Vladimir, our national leader, is the most strongest and most dedicated to his nation political leader. And regarding the conversation, dialogue with Donald Trump, of course, it can be very open, and it's actually needable not only for the Russia and America and Ukraine, it's needable for all the planet. It's a dialogue between West and East, and I don't think that we will move to any other conditions which already was announced. Most important conditions of the dialogue and the peacemaking dialogue in Ukraine, first of all, is Russian land which already joined to Russia. It's according to the Russian constitution of our constitution. It is not of joining to our country. It was actually choice and will of the nations, they will join. Second most important, it's about the Nazism. Is Nazism. We start this spec operation because according to definition, official definition, is not a war. We not start this war. It was Ukraine who started to punish and put the aggressive action against eastern part of Ukraine, against Russian population actually. That's why spec operations start, because we need in the 21st century, we need to finish this Nazi movement. It's anti-human, it's not acceptable on any level, political level, human level. That's why second condition, it should be some legal law in Ukraine where they will put that any Nazi movement groups, symbols not allowed at all in this country. We should stop it, finish. And second, the last one is my very important condition, which Vladimir Putin, I think so, already announced. It's Ukraine should be not a part of NATO. It's very simple, as simple as this. It's very simple. With these conditions, of course, Russia is very open to the dialogue. And again, I want to repeat my words, is that it will be beneficial not only for Ukraine, not only for Russia, even for all the planet, because we should start with new, we can say mission, spiritual mission to start our dialogue on the condition of human level.
Sergei, apologies to cut you off. We are out of time. Thank you also to Glenn and to Alex for joining us. We now move to Venezuela, where opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has been arrested after reappearing in public for the first time in months. The arrest took place just a day before President Nicolas Maduro's third inauguration. Machado's political group reported that the government forces fired at her convoy during the incident. While she has since been released, the Maduro government called it a media distraction. Let's take a look at this report.
Venezuela opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has been arrested after reappearing in public for the first time in months a day before the disputed third inauguration of President Nicolas Maduro. Machado, aged 57, was violently intercepted in eastern Caracas, and the motorcycle convoy in which she was riding was shot at. The opposition added that she was forced to record several videos while being held.
Va a ser que de una vez ya caiga la tiranía. Esto era lo que estábamos capaz, ella sabía que esto iba a pasar. Ella va con todos, a ella no la tocan, la van a tocar, ya está, muertos, ya está, ya esto termina. O sea, hoy con esto yo sé y reafirmo y confirmo que la tiranía termina hoy.
Ya no puedo hablar con mis familiares en Venezuela porque tienen miedo de decirme algo a través de WhatsApp y que arremeten contra ellos. Pero bueno, con la fe y esperanza de que ella es nuestra líder y sabemos que va a hacer algo por Venezuela.
Maduro, aged 62, was declared the winner of last July's presidential election, but the opposition and many countries, including the US, reject the result as fraudulent and recognize the now exiled opposition candidate Edmundo González as the legitimate president-elect. González fled Venezuela in September and has been living in Spain, but this month he went on a tour of the Americas to rally international support. The Maduro government has issued an arrest warrant for him, offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to his detention. Machado, whom González replaced on the ballot after she was barred from running herself, has also been targeted. She went into hiding soon after the disputed elections and was last seen in public in August before Thursday's rally. Bureau Report, NewsX.
Let's take a look at the latest updates from across the world of business. TSMC, the world's largest contract chip maker, reported fourth quarter revenue that surpassed market expectations. It is driven by a strong demand for artificial intelligence. The company, which serves clients like Apple and Nvidia, has capitalized on the rise of AI to maintain growth, even as demand for chips in consumer electronics like tablets has slowed since the pandemic. Sunak, China's shares and bonds dropped after a liquidation petition was filed against the company. This raised concerns about its ability to recover and repay debts, despite an offshore debt restructuring in 2023. The petition filed by China CINDA Asset Management will be heard on March the 19th. Other mainland developers like Evergrande and Country Garden have also faced liquidation cases. Most Asian stocks fell ahead of the important payrolls report on Friday following US futures. The report could cause Treasury yields and the US dollar to rise. Nasdaq and S&P 500 futures were down by 0.3%. US markets were closed for Jimmy Carter's funeral. European stocks are expected to open flat, reflecting concerns in global bond markets. Pacific Palisades, a pricey neighbourhood in Los Angeles, has been hit by wildfires. It's home to Hollywood celebrities and expensive mansions. Before the fire, insurance costs were some of the lowest in the United States. However, with the expected scale of losses and recent regulatory changes, homeowners may face higher insurance rates in wildfire-prone areas. Nvidia has criticised the Biden administration's plan to impose new restrictions on AI chip exports. The company urged Biden not to make a last-minute policy decision that could harm the US economy. Nvidia Vice President Ned Finkel stated that such a move would benefit US adversaries and set America back. The statement came via email. Apollo Global Management is considering a large investment in a plan to take Seven & I private. The investment could be up to 1.5 trillion yen. Apollo would join Seven & I's founding Into family and Itochu Corp as major investors. The Ito family is planning to invest around 500 billion yen, with Itochu committing over 1 trillion. Just a little over a week ahead of US President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January the 20th, the US Supreme Court has rejected his latest bid to delay sentencing in the hush money case. He will be sentenced in the case on Friday in Manhattan. Here's the full report.
President-elect Donald Trump can be sentenced Friday in his New York hush money case, the Supreme Court said in a 5-4 ruling. The High Court on Thursday rejected Trump's emergency request to delay the proceeding, setting the stage for him to be sentenced just days before he is inaugurated on January 20th for a second term. 4 conservative justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh said they would have granted Trump's request. Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett joined the court's 3 liberals to side against Trump. Judge Juan Merchan, the New York judge who oversaw Trump's trial, had ordered sentencing in the case for Friday morning, but has signaled that Trump will face neither penalties nor prison time. The sentencing hearing is scheduled for Friday at 9:30 a.m. Trump will appear virtually, according to a person familiar with the plans, joining the proceedings from Mar-a-Lago. In a brief, 1-paragraph statement, the court said that some of Trump's concerns could be handled in the ordinary course on appeal. The court also reasoned that the burden sentencing would impose on Trump's responsibilities is relatively insubstantial in light of the trial court's stated intent to impose no penalty. The president-elect's request at the US Supreme Court was an extraordinary appeal because the justices rarely dip into a state criminal case before all appeals in state courts are fully exhausted. Trump's underlying challenge to his conviction is still pending, and Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg argued the Supreme Court did not have jurisdiction to even consider the emergency request to delay the sentencing. Trump was convicted in May of falsifying business records over payments to his then-lawyer Michael Cohen to reimburse a $130,000 hush money payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels in order to keep her from speaking out about an alleged affair before the 2016 election. Bureau Report, NewsX.
That's all we have time for. We'll be back shortly with more of your latest breaking international news updates.